Sweet George Brown, I could not finish proper discussion of lesson 30 in the amount of time that I had because I always throw in the issue of domain and range, and this is conceptually a little bit tricky for an Algebra 1 student to kind of grasp. So I do need to talk about that. What is it? How do you find it? How do you write it? You want to get the right answers here. But definitely an important idea when it comes to functions. Set-wise, domain was just all the x values that you used, and range were all the y values that came out, or the input and the output. If you drew it as a diagram, domain would have been all in one circle, and range would have been all in the other, and then the little lines go between them. But when you're looking at a graph, you got a continuous line there, so you don't have a bunch of specific values. You're going to have a whole wide, a range of values. Not ranges in that range, but, from here to there type of things, and everything in between. So, let me do a few things here. Let's just remind you that domain, we're talking about the x values, and range, we're talking about the y values. The domain, we're talking about where the picture goes left to right, and range, we're looking at where the picture goes up and down. Okay, so you look at, I got 3 examples here that they were already, well, I guess I made them up. You got a line, a parabola, and a square root function, a power function, rational. Okay, and you're looking at these, and you're thinking, yeah, where do those things go? And one way to think about these things is maybe like you got a flashlight, or you're going to look at these things in only one direction. And what do I mean by that? Well, let's take this line for instance. Oh, I'm getting a phone call from Eric Nielsen. Eric, you're going to have to wait, buddy. So let's talk about that line. If I want to know where this graph goes in the x direction, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna look at it from this way, and I'm gonna look sideways. I'm gonna see all the places where it would go left and right. Now you see on this line you got these little arrows. That means it just keeps going forever and ever. Amen. So we have a little shortcut for that. If it goes both directions forever, we get to call that SOARN, or the set of all real numbers. That just means everything. You're going to use that a lot. But the way that we typically write it, at least for the domain, is that, get rid of this picture now. No, maybe not. I'm going to put D for domain, put colon, and then you can put some braces there. Put the set of all real numbers. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it would be to talk about it in terms of x. And you can say it's anything greater than or equal to x, anything less than or equal to x. And I guess you could use your little infinity sign. You could say everything. But set of all real numbers is a lot easier to write than doing it in set notation. The range, we're going to look at it this way. How does it go up and down? And those arrows tell us the same story. They're going to go up forever, and they're going to go down forever. So with the range, we're going to put an R, and we can put those braces, and we can do the same thing, set of all real numbers. Or if you're doing range and you want to talk about letters, you're going to talk about Y. That would be everything, including all the way to infinity. That's a line. Lines are pretty easy. You're going to use set of all real numbers for both the domain and range for Y. But for something like this, those arrows tell you that this picture goes up forever, and it goes sideways forever, but it doesn't go down forever. It has a minimum right there. So domain for this parabola is going to be the set of all real numbers. I can plug in any kind of number I want to, and I am going to get an answer in the Y direction. But the range here is particular. The lowest point it has is -3. It doesn't go any lower than that. So a couple ways you could draw this. Well, I guess the best way would be to say is when y is greater than or equal to that minimum value. Everything above that, but includes -3, it doesn't ever go below. So you can write it in kind of this type of format. This last one, the square rooty kind of thing, well, it doesn't go this way at all, does it? It starts right here. So its domain, its left and right business, is only when x is either greater than or equal to 0. Right? Doesn't go any in the negative direction, or you could just spell it out and say all positive real numbers including 0. That would be too long. Range, we look at it up and down. We see that it doesn't go below 2. It goes above 2, though. You write it like that. And you can do it with a colon. You can put some braces around it. Typically, that you're going to write it like this in set notation. That gives you an idea of where it goes this way and where it goes that way. And with a picture, sometimes that's hard. So if you need to ask questions about that, again, you'll be asking which one's the domain and which one's the range. I usually think like this is my domain, and range is like when I'm shooting things and want to see how far it goes. I'm angling it up and down. That's probably too much explanation, but I did need to get through that, talk about that for lesson 30 so that you feel all warm and good inside. You don't itch too much.